So, do we all remember Monster High? It was a very popular doll line in the 2010s. It's actually getting a reboot right now. It was unique because it had a lot more lore and world building than a doll like Barbie does. The idea was that classic monsters like Frankenstein and the Mummy had fashionable children who went to high school together. They had animated webisodes, which showed the characters getting into high school relationship drama. Or at least that's how I remember it.
No way I'm going out with a guy with more than 4 eyes, and he has like 8.
It got a spin-off brand called Ever After High. The idea with Ever After High was that fairy tale characters like Snow White and Cinderella had fashionable children who went to high school together. Disney did not like this. That's our thing. So they set out to make their own series. Their idea was that all the human Disney characters had fashionable children who attended a high school together. They creatively titled this Descendants. Descendants takes place in a kingdom called Auradon. Auradon is the kingdom from Beauty and the Beast. That's what we've decided to call it. The Beast, 20 years ago, decided to unify all of the kingdoms into the United States of Auradon. It's called states, even though they're kingdoms. I think it's because they wanted the acronym USA. All of the other kingdoms didn't get names like Auradon. They're all called like Cinderellasburg and Tangletown. Very unfortunate. So Auradon is both the name of Belle and the Beast's kingdom and also the name of the unification of the kingdoms. So it's kind of like if the EU was created by France and then called the United States of France. I'd imagine that all of the other countries wouldn't love it, but we don't get to hear from them. Beauty and the Beast have a 16-year-old son named Ben. Ben is about to be crowned king.
How is it possible that you're going to be crowned king next month? You're just a baby.
He's turning 16, dear.
I believe we're supposed to understand that he's being crowned king of the United States of Auradon, not just the individual kingdom. He's being crowned king of all of it. This doesn't make sense because the Beast was allegedly elected king of the United States of Auradon.
Beast united all of the kingdoms and got himself elected king of the United States of Auradon.
Sort of suspicious. Ben is played by Mitchell Hope, who I initially thought, upon watching these movies, was just not a very good actor. Turns out he's Australian.
Usually we just kind of like grab food, walk to our trailers, hang out for a bit, and slowly make our way into the hair makeup trailer.
So he's doing an American accent the whole time, which I think is like messing up the way that he's performing his lines. The other location in the movie is the Isle of the Lost. 20 years ago, when the Beast created the United States of Auradon, he also banished all of the villains to an island called the Isle of the Lost. There's a magical barrier that keeps them from using magic. So essentially the USA made a prison island, very on brand. Now, I know what you're thinking. Didn't some of these villains die? A lot of them fell off of buildings or cliffs. In the books, we specify that a lot of these villains were brought back to life so that we could put them on this island. So then it turns it into sort of like a purgatory afterlife island. Don't love that. I think it's also meant to explain how all these characters are all alive in the same time period. Like Mulan lived in the Han Dynasty, and Cruella de Vil lived in 20th century America, and all the princesses are from vaguely medieval Europe. None of that matters. We're all alive at the same time. So we have all these washed up villains who can't use their magic. We have Jafar, Cruella de Vil, there's the evil queen, and Maleficent, who's played by Kristen Chenoweth. Then we have all their kids, the descendants, if you will. We have Jay, who's the son of Jafar. You'll notice that these names are like derived from the parents' names, I think, so that the kids watching don't get confused. If you find Jay's actor familiar, it's because he played Seth in the Twilight movies. We have Evie, who's the daughter of the evil queen. We have Mal, who's the daughter of Maleficent. And we have Carlos, who's the son of Cruella de Vil. They are introduced to us singing a song called Rotten to the Core. It's iconic, but I don't think it's very good. There's a lot of dubstep in this movie because it was released in 2015. So to me, Rotten to the Core sounds extremely dated. My next bullet point is called Ben's Villain Study Abroad program. So Ben wants his first proclamation to bring some of the kids from the Isle over to Auradon.
I've decided that the children on the Isle of the Lost be given a chance to live here in Auradon.
He thinks they shouldn't be punished for their parents' crimes, and they deserve to live a normal life. His parents are not happy about this, which kind of makes sense because they came up with the Isle, but they also don't stop him. He's not king yet. He hasn't been crowned king. Also, he's 16. So I don't know why they wouldn't just say no, but he's allowed to do it. So Carlos, Evie, Mal, and Jay get to come over to Auradon. Before they leave for Auradon, Maleficent tells the kids that she wants them to steal Fairy Godmother's wand.
And with that wand and my scepter, I will be able to bend both good and evil to my will.
Our will.
Our will.
Sort of suggested that they're afraid of their parents and want to make them proud. This is more overt in the books, so they go along with it. They get taken to Auradon via a limo over a magical bridge. Then they meet Ben and his girlfriend Audrey.
It's so good to finally meet you all. I'm Ben.
Prince Benjamin, soon to be king.
Audrey is the daughter of Aurora. She and Mal don't really get along because of their mother's history.
Water under the bridge.
Toads!
They also meet the fairy godmother.
The fairy godmother? As in bippity boppity boo?
Bippity boppity, you know it.
Who is the principal of the school. And they meet Doug.
This is Doug. He's gonna help you with your class schedules and show you the rest of the dorms.
Who is the son of Dopey and a nerd. It is implied that he has a crush on Evie.
Hi ho.
Evie. Evil Queen's daughter.
Good luck, champ. Apparently, Fairy Godmother's magic wand is housed in a museum. If I were running the museum, I would have a replica wand out on display and put the actual magic wand in a vault somewhere because it is a very powerful magical artifact. We don't ever say that that's how the museum works, so the Fairy Godmother's wand is just out on display at all times. The first night they're there, the villain kids attempt a museum heist, which is unsuccessful, but they do get worryingly close to stealing the wand. If I were running this museum, I would be very embarrassed that 4 teenagers almost stole one of our rarest items. Also, while we're in the museum, Mal and Maleficent sing like a cabaret number together. Subplot number 1, Carlos and Jay. I think these movies are targeted primarily at girls, so the boys are relegated to love interests and comic relief. Carlos is afraid of dogs because his mother told him that dogs would eat him.
I read somewhere that they allow dogs in Auradon. Mom said they're rabid pack animals who eat boys who don't behave.
So at one point, he meets a dog and is afraid of the dog. I hate this dog. This dog is in all 3 movies and gets progressively more annoying. Also, the dog is named Dude. Ben very kindly helps Carlos overcome his fear.
Carlos, this is Dude. He's the campus mutt.
He doesn't look like a vicious rabid pack animal. You're a good boy.
I guess you guys have it pretty rough on the island.
Yeah. Let's just say we don't get a lot of belly rubs.
Jay gets a subplot about playing a game called Tourney. We spend too much time in this movie watching Tourney gameplay. We have to watch him practice and then also watch a game. He's good at Tourney. Good for him. I don't want to watch it. Also, all the Tourney is set to dubstep. There's a character, I don't actually know how we know that this character existed. He's on the wiki, the Descendants wiki. Shout out to the Descendants wiki. Aladdin's son, Aziz. If I were to guess, Aziz and Jay would have bonded over Tourney, and then also Aziz would have helped Jay realize that being evil isn't all it's cracked up to be. Jay is like a petty thief.
It's called stealing.
Okay, what's the point?
Well, Mal, it's like buying whatever I want, except it's free.
He steals things for his dad's pawn shop, which I think would have been paralleled with Aladdin. But Aziz isn't in the movies, so it doesn't matter. Our next subplot is Evie's. The evil queen wants Evie to marry a prince.
You just find yourself a prince with a big castle and a mother-in-law wing.
She gives her like a pocket magic mirror. It's not the big wall one. It's like a compact you could stick in your purse. Evie sees a boy in chemistry class and is immediately infatuated with him. Doug explains that he is the son of Prince Charming and that his name is Chad. Chad Charming.
Chad inherited a charm, but not a lot of there. Know what I mean?
Looks like they're there to me.
The teacher sees Evie and Doug talking about Chad and thinks they're not paying attention, so he has Evie come up to answer a question. She cheats using her magic mirror. Very unsubtle cheating, too. And now Chad wants her to do his homework for him.
Unless if you could knock all my homework out along with yours, then maybe we could get together sometime. Hang.
Okay.
Has this ever happened to a person in real life? I think it's in movies for children because you can't have a boy pressuring a girl for being physically intimate. Because if it was a movie for teenagers or adults, then you would just have it be that. But you can't, so instead it's pressuring her to do his homework. Later, Chad betrays her and gets her magic mirror taken away.
It will be my recommendation that you are expelled.
Mr. Delay,
That isn't fair. Obviously she wasn't cheating since she didn't have that whatever it is.
Called magic.
You're not helping.
She has to take a test without the mirror, and she gets a B+ on it.
For the first time, it's like I'm more than just a pretty face.
I would rework this subplot. I think what we're meant to understand is that Evie is smart. She's just not applying herself because she doesn't want to intimidate boys. But Chad was initially interested in her because she answered the chemistry question right, and he wanted to take advantage of that. It would have been simpler if Chad wanted to date her, but was discouraging her from studying or answering questions in class because he didn't want to date a nerd. I feel like that would have made the motivations and the message much more straightforward. Okay, Mal and the main plot. Mal meets the fairy godmother's daughter, who's named Jane.
Everyone here remembers my daughter, Jane. No. It's okay. Jane, this is everyone. Hi.
I think Jane is the only name that isn't, like, derived from the parents' name. Mal thinks that maybe Jane will give her an opening with the fairy godmother to use the wand. I don't know why she would think that. So Mal gives Jane a makeover with magic, like redoes her hair.
Do my nose.
Oh, I can't. I've been practicing, but, I can't do really big magic. Not like your mom, with her wand. And hey, if your mom does decide to, break out the old wand, invite me.
If I can convince Mom, you're so there.
Yay.
Then Mal meets Lonnie, the daughter of Mulan, who also wants a makeover.
You're evil. But do you think you can do mine?
Why would I do that for you?
I'll pay you $50.
Lonnie's clothes are also the most unfortunate. She gets vaguely oriental inspired clothing, with the collar and stuff, lest we forget at any point that the only Asian character is the daughter of Mulan. Also, her colors are hot pink and turquoise. All of the characters are color coded, which again I think is so that the children watching this don't get confused. I appreciated it because I get faces confused a lot. If I saw someone in navy blue, I knew it was Evie. And Mal is now popular because of all the makeovers she's giving. Audrey calls it gateway magic.
What's the harm?
It's gateway magic. Sure, it starts with the hair,
Next thing you know, it's the lips and the legs and the clothes, and then everybody looks good, and then where will I be?
Does she run the Magic Dare program? We also find out that Audrey gets to sit up front with Ben during coronation. We care about this because the wand is being used at coronation for some reason, and we gotta get that wand. So the obvious solution is to use a love potion to get Ben to fall in love with Mal so that she gets to sit up front at coronation. The love potion takes the form of cookies, which require a tear of human sadness.
It says that we need 1 tear of human sadness, and this love potion gets the best reviews, so we have to follow it exactly.
So, while they're making the cookies, Lonnie comes in, and she somehow connects cookies to their parents.
Wait, didn't your moms ever make you guys like chocolate chip cookies? Like, when you're feeling sad. And they're fresh from the oven with a big old glass of milk, and she just makes you laugh and puts everything into perspective. And
all of the villain kids are like, no. Then Lonnie is sad because, and I quote, "I thought even villains loved their kids."
you know, I thought even villains love their kids.
Lonnie, you can't say that. But then she cries a tear of human sadness. So we just take that tear and put it in the cookies. Thanks, Lonnie. Mal guilts Ben into eating the cookie. I say the cookie because it's just one in a Ziploc bag that she's carrying around. Why did we have to make a whole batch of cookies? I don't know. He says that he has a tourney game and he doesn't eat before tourney games. She's like, oh, cookies from villains. I get it.
Be careful of treats offered by kids of villains.
No.
No, I'm sure every kid in Oradon knows that.
No, that's not it.
So he eats it. I don't think I want a king who's that easily manipulated. The love potion works very well. After his tourney game, Ben sings a song about how much he loves Mal. The song isn't that bad. The dance is not good. I made my mom watch these movies with me after I had already watched them. And during this song, she said, "Zac Efron, he is not."
Will you go to the coronation with me?
Yes!
She said yes!
Then Ben and Mal go on a date. She wears a dress for the date, but she's wearing a jacket over the dress. So we're all like, oh, Mal looks so beautiful. She looks the same. She takes the jacket off later, but we didn't need the jacket. The date is at an enchanted lake that we just have.
You gotta just, do this.
Mm-hmm. Go on. You can't take me anywhere, I guess.
At one point, Ben goes swimming.
Are those little crowns on your shorts?
Maybe.
He goes swimming, and Mal sings a ballad about how conflicted she is. I think whoever was editing knew that the ballad was very boring, so they kept putting in clips of earlier in the movie as like flashbacks. But we get clips from earlier in the date. After her song, she realizes Ben has swam off somewhere, and Mal tries to swim out and find him, but she doesn't know how to swim, so I don't know how she thought she was going to be helpful.
You can't swim?
No.
You live on an island.
Yeah, with a barrier around it, remember? Ugh.
I don't know what love feels like.
Maybe I can teach you.
Then it's Family Day. Family Day is, I guess, when everyone's parents come to visit, because this is like a boarding school. A bunch of the characters sing a rendition of Be Our Guest. It's not great. Then Ben introduces Mal to his parents.
How about a game of croquet before lunch?
Of course.
Game on.
Game on.
Have you played before?
No.
No? You look fine.
Also, Audrey's grandmother is there, not her mother. I guess we didn't want to, like, definitively cast her mother. Audrey's grandmother gets mad at Mal for what Maleficent did.
Don't you remember my proclamation to give the new generation a chance?
A chance to what, Ben? Destroy us? My daughter was raised by fairies because of your mother's curse. So her first words, her first steps, I missed it all!
Which I think is a good perspective that we don't usually get, is that Aurora's parents missed out on a good chunk of her life. Then Chad comes in.
What do you think villains teach their kids, huh? Kindness? Fair play? No way, okay? You stole another girl's boyfriend. Hey. You enjoy hurting people. And you're nothing but a gold digger and a cheater.
Evie is a cheater and a gold digger. That is accurate.
How many rooms in your castle?
Oh, too many to count.
I think the comment about Jay is supposed to be because he's good at tourney. It's just supposed to be that he's jealous. I think that if we had kept the fact that Jay is a petty thief, then Chad would have said Jay is a thief. But at this point in the movie, it's already been like half an hour since we even brought that up, so he can't say that. So he just is jealous that Jay is good at tourney. Then we use like a perfume bottle of sleeping potion on Chad. It was part of their plan to steal the wand. It doesn't matter. It also wears off incredibly quickly, so I don't know how effective that would have been. Now everyone from Oradon is mad at the villain kids, and Mal, in retaliation, undoes Jane's hairdo makeover, which, how cruel to make her go back to that bob. Now it's time for the coronation. So Mal preps an anti-love potion cookie, like to undo the love potion. I think spells in this universe have to be undone, otherwise they just last forever. So in the carriage to the coronation, she gives him this cookie and is like, don't eat it now.
But I can't wait.
No! Which, why would you give it to him then? But he eats it, and then it turns out he's been lying this whole time.
Let's give the anti-love potion a few minutes to take effect.
Okay.
The enchanted lake washed off the love potion, because it's like an anti-enchantment enchanted lake. So ever since that date, he hasn't actually been under a spell.
I haven't been faking anything.
Which I like as a twist, because then it makes it less uncomfortable. Some of this has been of his own free will. So Ben is being crowned. It's very dramatic. And in the middle of it, someone grabs the wand. But then, in a twist, it's Jane. Because her hair is ugly again, and she wants to give herself a makeover with this wand.
If you will make me beautiful, I'll do it myself!
She isn't able to control it properly, so it breaks a hole in the barrier. I don't know why that would be what the wand would automatically do.
You really want to do this?
We have no choice, Ben! Our parents...
Your parents made their choice. Now you make yours.
My heart is telling me that we are not our parents.
I choose good too.
I choose good.
So, just to be clear, we don't have to be worried about how really mad our parents will be? Because they're gonna be really, really mad.
Your parents can't reach you here.
Then Maleficent comes. She turns into a dragon, and then Mal fights back against her, and through the power of friendship,
The strength of evil is good as none when stands before four hearts as one.
we defeat Maleficent. She shrinks down into like a tiny lizard.
Your mother did. She shrank to the size of the love in her heart. That's why it's so itty-bitty.
I would have preferred no explanation. She's just a lizard now. And then we all have a group dance number.
You didn't think this was the end of the story, did you?
I know I'm talking a lot about the movies, but I have a lot of other things to talk about. So I'm gonna make these like, I guess, intermissions. This first one gonna be about various supplemental materials. Books. There are books. I've mentioned the books in terms of how they differ from the movies and things that are mentioned and backstory that is mentioned in the books. This first book serves as like a prologue. So it's what everyone was doing before the first movie, because that's what prologue means. They're all written by Melissa de la Cruz. I don't know how much information they gave her when she wrote these books. I think they must have emailed her like a 2-sentence writing prompt and then she just went wild. Some of the stuff that's in here comes up in the movies, some of it does not. In the books, it feels more overt that everyone living on the Isle is sort of living in poverty. The Isle gets Auradon's trash, like that's what they send over to the Isle. And it's also more overt that their parents are not treating them well. Carlos and Evie were neighbors. Evie didn't realize that Cruella de Vil had a kid. She thought Cruella had a dog because she treats him like a dog. That's dark. So the books are simultaneously a little too whimsical and silly in the tone it's written in, but also it's darker in its themes and world. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't finish the first book, and I didn't read the other books. They're not for me, obviously, because I'm an adult and these are for children. You may be wondering, if I'm not gonna read the books, why do I own them? I don't have to justify myself to you. Should I have finished reading them for this video? Maybe, but I'm not gonna. There's also a lot of books that are like Mal's spell book. So books that are sort of like collages of pictures and bits of world building. Also, there's a manga series. Who is this for? I mean, I almost bought it. Then I realized I already bought several Descendants books that I'm not planning on reading. There's also an animated show called Wicked World. It's like a series of animated shorts. Very Monster High. I watched a little bit. Maybe some stuff happens later on, but I feel like these sort of animated shorts are always kind of boring. I know that Ever After High had like a grand sweeping narrative arc, but it's sort of an outlier. They also did a couple like music videos. They did a rendition of Genie in a Bottle, which included Genie's daughter, Jordan. There was also a series of YouTube shorts that were live action about the students of Auradon Prep. I did watch all of that. I was intrigued by, I guess, the casting, like which characters would appear and if any of the actors were the same as the movie. There are quite a few characters that don't show up in the movies. There's like Ariel's niece and Rapunzel's daughter. It's shot like overhead, like above a table, so it's kind of hard to see who the cast is. I'm not good at that kind of thing anyway, so I kind of couldn't tell who anyone was. Movie 2. The movie starts out with a song that's like a daydream that she's having about wanting to be evil. Mal is really having a hard time in Auradon. She doesn't like all the pressure. She doesn't like having to pretend to be a princess.
I can hardly wait to see what your wedding will look like. Me too. Wait, what? The real Catalina is like getting engaged to be engaged to be engaged.
I knew it.
Everyone knows it. I didn't know it. How come nobody told me that? Is my entire life just planned out in front of me?
I know. She and Evie talk about their lives.
You don't ever miss running wild and just breaking all the rules? Like stealing and lying and fighting?
Yeah. No.
Evie's having a real great time. She has like a business making clothes for people. We're meant to understand that she can sew, and it's implied that she made clothes for Mal, Jay, and Carlos back on the Isle. Also, Doug is now her boyfriend, and he's like helping out with her business.
That way you wouldn't need a prince.
You're right, I don't. Because I have you.
Good for Evie. Good for Doug. Impressive job, Doug. We also find out that Evie has donated her magic mirror to the museum.
Personally, as your best friend, I strongly believe that this spell book, it belongs in the museum along with my mirror.
It is never seen again. We don't need that magic mirror anymore. Mal is using her magic to try and get more things done because she's swamped with all of her obligations. but using magic is frowned upon, so she's like doing it in secret.
Hey, didn't you donate that to the museum?
Is that still in there?
Mal and Ben are supposed to have a date, but Mal forgot about it.
I didn't get you anything.
You're taking me on a picnic with all my favorite foods, remember?
No, that's Thursday.
It is Thursday. It is.
I knew that.
So she uses her magic to like help her prepare for the date. Ben finds out that she's been using magic and is upset.
Take back this moment that has passed. Return it. Reverse it.
Are you trying to spell me right now?
It has been so hard for me.
Some things are hard.
I'm not one of those pretty pink princesses, Ben.
She breaks up with him and decides that the only solution is to return to the Isle. My excuse for her making this very dumb decision is that she's 16. So, the Isle. So we get some new characters. We have Uma, who's the daughter of Ursula. We have Harry, who's the son of Captain Hook. And we have Gil, who's the son of Gaston. Uma runs like a pirate crew. Some of these extras in the pirate crew are too old. This man has a beard. Uma sings a song, which is fine. I am distracted by all of the background pirates, but that's fine. Uma hates Mal because Mal didn't let Uma join her gang when they were kids. So she's always like resented her for that. It's very Draco and Harry. So Mal's gang and Uma's pirate crew have been rivals.
Look, we have her turf now. They can stay and board on.
Harry, that's her turf now. And I want it too. We should not be getting our leftovers.
Mal comes back to the Isle and she goes and gets a makeover from Dizzy. Dizzy is Drizella's daughter. Drizella as in the wicked stepsister in Cinderella. The wicked stepmother and wicked stepsisters run like a salon. So Mal gets 2 different hairstyles in this movie, which means 2 different dolls. Genius. Harry comes in. He like is collecting the pirate crew's cut of the salon's earnings. Harry has a weird energy.
Well. What a nice surprise.
Hi, Harry.
It's a lot. Dove Cameron and Thomas Doherty dated in real life, and they came up with a backstory that their characters had dated.
I can hurt you.
Not without her permission, I bet.
It's not subtle. Subplots. Carlos gets a subplot. He wants to ask out Jane to cotillion. There's gonna be a cotillion, and he wants to go with Jane. He keeps fumbling, asking her out.
Hey, Jane.
Hey.
I was wondering, if you liked the carrot cake last night?
So he asks Mal for a truth potion in the form of like a Flintstones gummy vitamin. I think the idea is that like the truth potion will make him speak his mind so he will be able to successfully ask her out. I don't know. It doesn't really make sense. And then Dude, my mortal enemy, comes and eats the truth gummy, and now Dude can talk.
Man, that thing was nasty.
I don't think that's how truth gummies work. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it would be able to make a dog able to talk. Also, very randomly, this dog is voiced by Bobby Moynihan from SNL. So it's just a distracting SNL alumni voicing Dude the dog. Also, Chad keeps sneaking into Carlos's room to use his 3D printer.
Hi. How'd you get a key to my room? Oh, I printed it off last time I was in here. You guys were sleeping.
I guess Carlos has like modded his 3D printer to work better.
Look, your printer's so much better than mine, and you install these hacks and everything runs so much smoother than mine.
Out.
In the books, he is supposed to be like an inventor genius. That doesn't really translate to the movies except in this one instance. Towards the end of the movie, Carlos is able to successfully ask out Jane. Good for him. It did take a pep talk from the dog for him to do it, so I don't love that, but yay for young love. Puppy love, if you will. Lonnie gets a subplot. She wants to join the Swords and Shields team. It's just fencing. What happened to Turney? We don't have Turney anymore. It's all fencing. She can't join the team because she's a girl.
Not bad.
You should put me on the team.
Hey, what? So have you not read the rule book? Section 2, paragraph 3, 11-4. A team will be comprised of a captain and 8 men.
This movie came out in 2017. I can't wait for kids' movies to abandon this boring plot. Just let people play sports. So, as a loophole, they make Lonnie the captain.
The team shall be comprised of a captain and 8 men. So, give it up for your new team captain. Fine.
Also, weirdly, Chad is here, and he's, like, sexist. Like, he doesn't want Lonnie to join the team, even though she's very good.
And what's gonna happen next? We'll have girls playing tourney? Come on, guys.
Yeah, but you're down a man. You know, since Ben had to leave to do all that king stuff.
Exactly. We're down a man.
If my mother thought that way, she would have lost the war.
Okay, Operation Get Mal Back. Ben wants to go to the aisle to convince Mal to come back.
She's been under so much pressure lately, and instead of being understanding, I just went all beast on her. I have to go there and apologize.
And the other villain kids are like, you can't go alone. You look like that. So we take the limo over. I think it's funny that we have access to this limo and that it's seemingly the only way to get to the aisle. Ben is now all edgy, and we sing a song about being edgy. Mal now has, like, a loft. The parents are noticeably absent from this movie. So I think this is a way to sort of divert your attention away from that. I think if she had gone home and we hadn't had the lizard turn back into Kristen Chenoweth and had all the other parents there, it would have been weird. But instead, she's just in this weird loft. So don't worry about it. She has her own loft. Ben goes up and tries to convince her to come back with him.
The people love you. I love you.
She says no.
Where's Mel?
She's not coming back.
What? I'll talk to her. Em? Mel, come on.
Go away!
Meanwhile, Ben is kidnapped.
Where's Ben?
The pirates take Ben back to their pirate ship. We are told this by Harry, who's doing a lot.
What did you do with Ben?
Oh, we nicked him. Mm-hmm, yeah. And if you want to see him again, Mal, come to the chip shop tonight. Alone.
So now it's Operation Rescue the King of Oradon. Mal meets up with Uma to discuss terms.
You know I've dreamed of this. You wanting something from me, and me watching you squirm like a worm on a hook.
I'm so flattered that you dream of me. I haven't given you a thought since I left.
Obviously.
Uma wants the wand. We can't move on from this wand. She wants the wand to then take down the barrier. The villain kids discuss a plan, and they decide to 3D print a wand.
Your 3D printer.
A phony wand.
Yes!
In my sleeve.
Yeah, the second Uma tests her, she'll know it's fake. Okay, so then we just get Ben out really fast. We need some kind of diversion.
Smoke bombs.
That's perfect. I'll get the chemicals I need from Lady Tremaine's place. That could work.
So we send back Carlos and Jay to print out a wand. While they're back in Oradon printing a wand, Lonnie overhears that Ben has been kidnapped, so she tags along.
Why are you guys making Fairy Godmother's wand? Why are we making Fairy Godmother's wand?
Because,
Ben's been captured.
You're going to the aisle to rescue Ben. Look, it's either you take me or I'm gonna have to tell Fairy Godmother.
Dude also tags along. So now we have this dog with us. Meanwhile, Mal and Evie go to the hair salon to get chemicals to make smoke bombs. Again, I think it's because Evie and Carlos are both supposed to be smart, so I guess we can just make smoke bombs from scratch. Evie is friends with Dizzy. It's kind of like a little sister thing.
How amazing will this look with my shredded tea and my heart purse?
Very amazing.
Take it. Take a bunch. It would make me so happy to know that you were wearing something of mine in Oridon. Almost like me being there myself.
I really wish I could take you with me.
At least one of us had our dream come true, right?
Then Evie tries to convince Mal.
Do you want to talk about it?
I'm not coming back, Evie.
And they sing a very interesting duet about always being there for each other and always being friends.
Mal has magical powers. Like, for sure she was also madly in love with Evie. Mal and I, same baby.
Rescue. Ben is tied up on the pirate ship. He talks to Uma about his plans to bring over more kids from the Isle and asks her to help him.
The plan was to start with 4 kids and bring more people over. I guess I was busy being king. That sounds lame. Come to Oridon and be part of the solution.
She is not charmed by him.
Nah.
Good for her. Our rescue team comes as a reminder that is Mal, Evie, Jay, Carlos, Lonnie, and Dude. We do like a rap battle, maybe because Hamilton had come out recently. I don't know. Uma wants proof that the wand is real and works, which is smart of her, because it's not and doesn't. But we have Dude who can talk, so we pretend that the wand makes him talk.
Talk, dog.
Does this vest make me look fat?
This is the one point where Dude is useful. Then we give the pirates the wand, and they realize they have been tricked.
No! You do not get to win every time!
For some reason, our rescue team has not already gotten out of there, so now we have to have a battle. This is the longest battle ever. It goes on for almost 5 minutes, which I know doesn't sound long, but watching it in real time, it takes forever. When I watched this again with my mom, at a certain point, I was like, sorry, this battle is so long. And she was like, God, I thought it was just me. We win the battle. Multiple smoke bombs are used. We get back to the limo. We accidentally leave Mal's spellbook behind. But we get back to Oridon. It's time for cotillion. Everyone's outfit is awful. Usually during these kind of scenes, I like some of them. I don't like any of them. Evie is always dressed really mature in formal wear. I think because in Disney Channel movies, the neckline has to go all the way up above the collarbones, otherwise moms will complain. But on Evie, it's always like mother of the bride. Mal's dress we see earlier in the movie, and it looks ugly, and it's not any better when she's wearing it. But uh-oh, Uma's here, and Ben is now with Uma. And then we all realize this poor boy has been love potioned again. That's like 2 times in 1 year that he's been drugged. I forgot to mention this because it's not important. Ben has been working on this like stained glass tribute to Mal, depicting her in a purple dress.
And now for the unveiling of King Ben's masterpiece, designed especially for his lady.
I think it's supposed to be meaningful because he understands that she's not just a traditional princess. She's also from the Isle and edgy.
Ben's known who I was all along.
He loves the real you.
That's me. I'm part Isle and part Oridon.
So now Mal's on board with getting back with Ben because of this stained glass. But of course it's a Disney movie, so the solution is true love's kiss.
Ben, I know what love feels like now. love you. Ben, I've always loved you.
Then, I know, this movie still isn't over. Then, Uma jumps off the boat and turns into a half squid, sort of like Ursula in the movie. I don't know, I haven't seen it.
True love's kiss won't defeat this.
Then Mal turns into a dragon. We have like a Pokemon battle. Ben also jumps in the water. I don't know what he thinks he's gonna accomplish, but he tries to talk them both down.
Uma! I know you want what is best for the Isle. Help me make a difference.
Uma swims away. And then we have a dance party. Also, we get a post-credit scene where like royal guards come to the Isle and give Dizzy a letter basically asking her to come to Auradon. Evie does say to Ben before the big dance number that she wants to bring more kids over.
It's Drizella's daughter, Dizzy. She's like a little sister to me.
Then she should come.
Actually, Ben, there's a lot of kids who would really love it here in Auradon. Kids just like us who also deserve a second chance. Can I maybe get you a list?
Yes, absolutely.
Which I guess is a nice sentiment, but we have to wait until next movie. Right now, only Dizzy gets to come. Another intermission. I want to talk about the dolls. I collect dolls. It's an embarrassing hobby, but someone has to do it. You can see behind me, I have some of the Descendants dolls. There were actually quite a lot of them, and they're not cataloged anywhere. Like, there's not a page on the Descendants wiki that lists all the dolls. So I kind of don't know how many there are, and also they're not sold anywhere anymore. I'm kind of dependent on the whims of eBay if I can even find any of them. I'm gonna look at my phone for reference. Is that gonna be annoying? Sorry. So for all the movies, they do a series that's like the 4 main characters in like the iconic outfit from that movie. We have movie 1, where they're all in their Isle outfits. We also have a Jane, an Audrey, and a Lonnie. We also have them in their outfits from the coronation. So we have all the girls in their fun little gowns. Mal was also sold in like a 2-pack with Maleficent, and I think in a 2-pack with Ben. Movie 2, we have them in their outfits. We also have them in their cotillion outfits. I have those behind me. I did say that I didn't like the cotillion outfits, and that is true, but it was a complete set of all 4 of them for a reasonable price, so I did buy it. We also start having Uma included. Movie 3, I know we haven't talked about movie 3, sorry for the outfit spoilers. There's them in like these Isle outfits and them in these like motorcycle outfits. We also have another Audrey. I think I could have gotten one of these on the Walmart website for like $15, and I like didn't bother. There's a couple random lines. There's a couple dolls from Wicked World. Remember that genie in a bottle thing? That got a doll line, so they're all in like mildly culturally appropriative outfits. And there's a line called like the Neon Lights Ball. I don't know what that is or what that means. I'm assuming it's from Wicked World. I don't care to look into it. Sometimes Carlos has sculpted hair. I like sculpted hair just because if doll hair is too short, then it sits kind of weird. The dolls also follow the current doll trend of having like detachable hands, so the sleeves can be really fitted. I don't like detachable hands because I buy all my dolls secondhand, and if a piece can come off, it is almost certainly lost. A lot of dolls on eBay with no shoes and no hands. I got pretty lucky with the dolls that I have in that only one of my Mal dolls is missing a hand. Whatever, she can just have her hand behind her back, like middle school figure drawing. I like the dolls. Well, I like the dolls that are wearing outfits that I like. They're articulated, their clothes are pretty high quality. I'm a fan. Hello. It is Several weeks later, you may notice that my hair is different. I recorded it, and then it had problems, and then I recorded it again, and then it had more problems, but I think I've solved it, so hopefully the third time's gonna be the charm. We can all just ignore that my hair is different. Unless if you feel like complimenting my hair. I'm fine with that. So, movie 3. So our villain kids are back on the Isle. They sing a song about, like, being proud of being from the Isle. In the last movie, it was sort of like they were traitors for abandoning the Isle. You know, all the pirates were mad at them. But now all the kids on the Isle are treating them like heroes. So they're gonna pick 4 kids to bring over to Oridon. I guess we can only do 4 kids at a time. One of them is Dizzy. You'll remember we already picked her, so I guess she hasn't gotten to come to Oridon yet. I don't know. Then there's Squeaky and Squirmy, who are Mr. Smee's kids. Mr. Smee, as in Captain Hook's, like, sidekick. And Celia, who's Dr. Facilier's daughter. Dr. Facilier, the villain from Princess and the Frog. At this point in the series, we're kind of down to the B-list characters. So they pick those 4 and tell them we're gonna come back in a week to pick you up. I guess to, like, give them time to pack? I don't know. Main kids go to Oridon, and then they come back a week later. And we're sort of doing this thing where we're retconning this idea that all of the parents are bad and mean. Because that's been sort of a consistent through line in this series. But in this movie, we sort of walk that idea back. So when Dizzy's going, she and her grandmother, the wicked stepmother, have sort of a awkward but nice goodbye, and they hug. It feels a little ironic because the wicked stepmother's defining characteristic was being a bad mother. But I guess that doesn't apply to biological grandchildren, so I don't know. So they're driving the limo through the barrier. You'll notice that the barrier is not in the same place that it has been. Now we're at this, like, cool-looking courtyard with a lot of open concrete space for choreographed dances. So we drive through the barrier, and just as we're going through, Hades punches his hand through the barrier. Hades, the Greek god of the underworld, and the villain in the 90s Disney movie Hercules. Hades is upset that he's trapped on the Isle because he's a god and he has things to do, which I agree with him. He did try to kill Hercules, but I don't know if that's within the jurisdiction of the Oridon legal system. Like, maybe that's Zeus's problem, you know? So then Mal turns into a dragon, which is a thing that she just does now. She tries to corral him back inside the barrier. He uses his magic to sort of drain some of her power, but we're able to get him back on the Isle. This was being televised to, like, show the kids coming over to Oridon. I guess the cameraman didn't cut the signal, so everyone saw Hades, and now the kingdom is very on edge. Because if you remember, Uma swam off in the last movie, so she's still at large.
Not a tentacle in sight.
So now we have 2 magical villains to worry about. Only one of them's on the loose. Like, Hades is back on the Isle, so we're good for now. But the concern is that if we open the barrier back up, that he could escape. So Ben, Mal, Fairy Godmother, and Ben's parents have, like, an emergency meeting. And Mal proposes that we should close the Isle. So no one goes in, no one comes out.
I think that we have to close the barrier. Forever.
Ben is not into this solution, obviously, because he's the one who wanted to bring people from the Isle in the first place. Closing the barrier was the initial plan when the Isle was created. That policy is now kind of undermined by the fact that we know that there's a bunch of innocent kids on the Isle.
But you know what this would mean? All those kids.
Also, if the barrier's closed, then I don't know how we're gonna get supplies to the Isle, because we send supplies to the Isle. I mean, according to the books. This is not mentioned in the movies. But I don't think the Isle is self-sufficient. This whole thing just makes it very clear to me why having a prison island is not the best way to run your judicial system. Also, why is Mal allowed to make this decision? Ben is the crown king, and he just sort of begrudgingly goes along with his girlfriend. Later, Mal and Evie are, like, having a chat in Evie's cottage. She has like her own little cottage that she's running her clothing business out of. And Mal gives Evie like an update.
I mean, the four of us are living the dream here, and we finally get to share that. I mean, what could be more important than that? I mean, maybe security, or maybe peace of mind for everyone in Oradon.
And Evie is under the impression that this wasn't her idea, and that she's in these meetings advocating for the well-being of the Isle, which Mal is not doing.
We're talking about closing the barrier for good. But you said no.
So Mal feels guilty and pretends that it wasn't her idea, which I think is an indication that it's a bad idea if you're lying to your best friend about it. Okay, the other part of the plot is Audrey. Audrey's back, and she has blonde hair, and she's very grumpy. She went on like a spa retreat. I think that's our explanation as to why she wasn't in the last movie, but she's back now. Her and a bunch of other like students and Oradon citizens are gathered outside of the Oradon Prep Castle, which I think at this point all of our main characters have graduated. This is just one of the locations that we have. So turns out they're gathered there so that Ben can propose to Mal through song.
But now look at what you done. You got me down on my knees. Will you marry me? Will you be my queen?
No!
Yes! I don't like any part of this. I don't like the song. I don't like that he's proposing to her. I don't know how old they're supposed to be at this point. Can't be older than like 18 or 19, right? Even if you figure that the timeline of the movies matches up to the timeline of filming, they would still only be like, I don't know. We said they were 16 in the first movie, which was in 2015. So 2019, like 4 years later, they would only be 20. But I also don't think that that much time has passed. I'm sure some of you are like, I got engaged that young, or my parents got engaged that young. And that's fine for you. But this is a Disney movie for children. So it's like kind of weird. All of our main characters celebrate. It's cute. I like the moments where all of them are together and having fun.
I'll bow to her royal majesty.
Oh, yes, her royal purpleness.
Silence, you annoying peasants.
As you wish, my liege.
Your crankiness.
I feel like those are the highlights of the movies, which we don't get that very often. Also, I feel the need to point out, Doug has long hair now. No offense to this actor, but I'm not a fan of it. If I was in charge of hair and makeup, I would not have let this happen. So Audrey is now very mad because I guess it was her and her grandmother's plan that she and Ben would get married. Her grandmother is there and expresses her disappointment.
A lifetime of plans gone.
Audrey, you were supposed to be his queen,
And you let him slip through your fingers. Your mother could hold on to a prince in her sleep.
Don't you think I feel bad enough already, Grammy?
I know that royals do arrange marriages, or at least they did in the olden times. This is not the olden times. And Audrey and Ben have been broken up. So I feel like she maybe should have already expected that they were not going to get married. Audrey gives a very passive-aggressive congratulations to Mal, where she mentions the love potion.
Congratulations. You won him fair and square. Oh, wait, no, you didn't. You spelled Ben to destroy all of Oradon. Touching story for the grandkids.
I didn't know that was public knowledge. Does everyone know that Mal used a love potion on Ben? Does Ben know? Ben thought it was because Mal had a crush and was too nervous to ask him out.
No, look, it's fine. I mean, you had a crush on me, I was with Audrey, you didn't trust that it could happen on its own. Am I right?
Yes.
But the actual reason was because of the wand. Did she end up telling him that? I had a lot of questions. So then Audrey gets a song about how her life has been ruined and how she's gonna be evil now. It's sort of the premise of the song. I mean, I definitely understand Audrey's perspective because Mal is a villain kid and then used dark magic on Ben and everything worked out fine for her. So Audrey goes to the museum and she's going to steal the crown. I don't really know why she would steal the crown. Like, it's symbolic, but at the end of the day, it doesn't make you the queen. It's just a bunch of jewels. She then gets tempted by Maleficent's scepter.
Something's pulling me. It's so magnetic.
Which is being kept in the museum because we just keep very powerful magical artifacts in the museum with very little protection. Even after 4 teenagers almost successfully pulled off a heist just a few years ago. So the dark magic of the scepter tempts her, so she takes the scepter, and then she changes her outfit into this other outfit that I don't like, but she is in it for like the whole movie, so too bad for me. She then goes to Evie's cottage where everyone is currently hanging out, including the kids that we brought over from the Isle. And she turns Mal into like an old hag.
You'll pay the price of what you did. So will all of Oridon!
So long, suckers.
I mean, I guess if she killed Mal, then there would be no more movies, so it has to be something less lethal. Apparently, the scepter is more powerful than, like, the wand, so we can't just undo this hag transformation. We have to get a different magical artifact. And the plan is to go get Hades' Ember.
The only thing more powerful than the scepter is Hades' Ember.
I had a Greek mythology phase. I also have watched Disney's Hercules. I don't remember there being any sort of ember. I don't know what the ember is, or what it does, or how long we've known about it, but apparently there is an ember, and our plan is to go get it. This is a nice change of pace, because for the last 2 movies, our plan has been to go get the wand, so at least it's a different magical artifact. So I'm going to bring this up now. It comes up again later, but it's Jane's birthday, and Jane is having a birthday party. And so we were planning on going to this birthday party, but now we're going to go get Hades' Ember. So we're going to miss the birthday party.
Carlos, you're gonna miss Jane's birthday!
Also, there's a running joke where there's birthday cake at Evie's house because they were going to bring the birthday cake to the birthday party, but people keep eating the birthday cake.
Yeah? Oh no. Oh. Okay, who got into Jane's cake?
Delicious. I especially love the lack of dirt. And the lack of flies.
There's your little side update on the Jane birthday party situation. So they're gonna go to the Isle to get Hades' Ember, and Celia is coming with them. Celia from earlier, Dr. Facilier's daughter. Apparently she runs errands for Hades, so she can get them into his lair.
And no one knows where his lair is. I do. I'm his errand rat. I've got the key at my dad's.
You're coming.
They go to the Isle, and then immediately the magic on Mal that turned her into a hag, the Isle barrier, like, neutralizes the magic, because evil magic doesn't work on the Isle.
Hey! I'm me again! Duh. Evil magic doesn't work here. Kind of the point.
I guess the implication being that good magic does work on the Isle, which Dude the dog, when he came to the Isle, he was still able to talk. So I guess that's our explanation for that, is that that was good magic, and turning Mal into a hag was evil magic. It's kind of flimsy, but whatever. I'm choosing not to worry about it. We immediately lose the motorcycles. They are stolen by the pirates. And we go to Dr. Facilier's arcade, and he's another parent who's nice.
Hey!
Daddy!
Here she is! Come on!
I didn't write in my notes why they had to come. I think Celia needed, like, a key or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. The important part is that Dr. Facilier seems like a good dad, which is fine, but it's just weird that suddenly there's all these nice parents, and that has previously not been a theme in these movies. Mal and Celia go to Hades' lair, and at first he's sleeping, but then he wakes up, and then we learn that Hades is Mal's father.
Hi, Dad.
I mean, it was suspicious when we introduced another villain. Like, I wonder if he has any children. So then they sing a song together. Mal sort of resents Hades because he was like an absent father. He like couldn't deal with Maleficent, and so he like went to the other end of the aisle and lives in his underground lair.
You abandoned me when I was a baby.
No, I left your mother.
And Mal says something about how like, well, at least Maleficent was around.
Huh? You see? We have something in common already. We both hate your mother.
No. I don't hate my mother. She may be an evil lunatic, but at least she stuck around.
Which, that was not how I understood her relationship with her mom. But Hades then decides to give her the ember. Because she's his daughter, the ember will work for her, like its magic will work, but it won't work as well as it does for him. We also learn that it can't get wet. So then we're about to leave the Isle with the ember when Harry and Gil follow them through the barrier. I feel like this was not how the barrier worked before. My impression was not that it was like automatic doors or an elevator for if you just like wave your hand in front of it as it's closing, it'll open back up. I thought it was more advanced magic than that, but Harry and Gil are able to get through. And they have sort of a fight, and they take the ember, drop it in the ocean, which remember, we just learned that it can't get wet. They're being real scoundrels, these pirates. But then Uma comes up from the water as like her half squid octopus form.
Drop something?
And she takes the ember from them. And then the pirates have a little reunion.
Hi, boys.
You swam off and forgot all about us.
Yeah, planning her revenge, no doubt.
It's not all about you, Mal. I was looking for a hole in the barrier to let everybody out. And you know what I found, boys? It's way better out there than we thought.
And the pirates say that they crashed the motorcycles.
Where are bikes?
Oh, yeah, we crashed them.
Which seems short-sighted. I feel like motorcycles in working condition could have been useful to have on the Isle, but no. The pirates agree to work together with the main characters on the condition that Mal brings all the kids over from the Isle.
Uma, it's not the time for games. People's lives are in danger.
Guarantee me that every single villain kid who wants to can get off the Isle.
I can't do that.
Can't do that. Well, how about now?
Deal!
This wouldn't be a problem because that was the original plan, is to bring all the kids over, except that the new plan is to close the barrier, which is the opposite of bringing kids over. But Evie's the only other one who knows that's what's going on. Uma keeps the ember. She doesn't give it back to them. She wants it as, like, leverage. So now they're all working together, and they're going to go back to Auradon. We don't say how they're getting back to Auradon, because the motorcycles crashed. But we sort of don't address that. They just get back to Auradon. Meanwhile, Jane is upset that all of our main characters are missing her birthday party.
Looks like Carlos forgot about your birthday, huh?
Well, maybe not. Maybe he just took the wrong trail or something. Or, you know what? They probably don't celebrate birthdays on the Isle. Maybe it's like a cultural thing.
And then Audrey shows up and uses the scepter to, like, put a sleeping curse on the birthday party. You know, like what Maleficent did. And Jane figures out what's happening, and she, like, jumps into the Enchanted Lake. Because the party's at the Enchanted Lake. Which is very convenient. So then all our villain kids are back in Auradon. And everyone in Auradon has either been put to sleep with a sleeping curse, or some of them have been turned to stone.
Hannah turned to stone.
Who's Hannah? I don't know. She looks like maybe she's on the marching band. Maybe they know her because of Doug. I don't know. It feels random to just have a random name. In my opinion, it should have been Lonnie, because Lonnie is not in this movie. And so that could have been an excuse that, like, oh, well, she was turned to stone, so she's not in the movie. And then we have a throwaway line later of, like, oh, the spell got reversed and she went back to her parents. So then we could kind of, like, have her in the movie, but not in the movie. I don't know. There's probably some reason, but I feel like that would have made more sense than Hannah. Uma and Mal both want to be in charge, because they are in charge of their respective crews, but they're sort of butting heads.
Says who?
Says me.
Says you, and that's supposed to mean something to me.
Guys.
And they begrudgingly agree to go search the castle together. Also, Dude is here just to annoy me personally, I guess. He's sort of like tracking Ben's scent through the castle. I don't think that breed of dog is a tracking dog. I'm not a dog breed expert, but this does not look like a bloodhound to me. And they end up in this room with a bunch of like suits of armor. And then Audrey, who's like using the scepter to like spy on them. She animates all the suits of armor, and then we have a choreographed song and dance fight scene. There's actually quite a bit of behind the scenes content that's on the like Descendants YouTube page. And there was a video where they talked about this scene and how they rehearsed for months.
Because each character has a different style of fighting. The choreography has to be very, very in tight. You know, you train for 2 months to shoot a scene that takes 2 days. So it's really cool when it all comes together.
Night Falls is going to be amazing. It's going to be epic. It's going to be that big number in the film that everyone's going to talk about.
We're all doing at least 10 hours a day of dance rehearsal. It's a lot of fun, but it's very, very busy.
I don't know if it was worth it. It's not, I mean, it's not awful, but it's not like, I don't know, I'm being mean. We have a moment when we finish the fight where it seems like everyone's friends and they're all congratulating each other, and then they remember that they hate each other, and we're back to being standoffish. Evie keeps trying to be like the mediator, very diplomatic. She wants everyone to be friends.
You know what we should try? An icebreaker. Harry. Great accent. Now you go.
Is she always this perky?
Oh, it wasn't really your turn, but thank you.
Okay, Evie, come here.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you.
I love this energy, but we are very short on time.
This sort of follows the trend of her character becoming more mature throughout the series. Like in the first one, she's into like fashion and boys. And now by this third one, now she's just like the mom friend. We go to Audrey's dorm room because she's taking summer school.
What? Summer school? Summer school? No wonder she wanted revenge.
And we read her diary, which is an invasion of privacy, but she has turned evil, so I don't know. I guess it balances out. And we read that Mal getting together with Ben really messed up her life.
Okay, so did you find anything in there that we don't already know, or?
And that she's probably at Fairy Cottage. Fairy meaning Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather, the fairies from Sleeping Beauty. They have a cottage, and I guess Audrey spends time there. So they're like, oh, she's probably there. Then we send the boys to go in the woods to search for Ben. Ben had been trying to lead, like, you know, mobilize the castle guards and whatnot. And then Audrey showed up and said she'd reverse all the evil magic if he agreed to marry her.
Make me your queen and we'll rule side by side.
He said no, so then Audrey uses a spell on him. And it turns out the spell made him into a beast, you know, like his father. So the boys come across Ben in the woods. He's all beast-like and angry because he has a thorn in his paw. And the guys are like, well, Carlos, you're good with animals. Go deal with it. I don't think that's the same thing, but Carlos helps him out. It reminds me of that fable that's like the lion with the thorn in its paw, and then the mouse helps him. Am I remembering that right from 6th grade English? Then Jane shows up and shoots Ben with a water gun. She got a water gun and filled it with water from the Enchanted Lake. I feel like Jane's really on top of it this movie. She has a lot of good ideas. The Enchanted Lake water only like half works. So he still has like fangs and a beard, but he's mostly back to normal. Also, when Harry sees Jane, he says this.
Well, well, well. Harry Hook, and you, my little duckling, are ravishing.
I don't love it. Also, this doesn't matter, but earlier when they were all walking through the woods, Jay and Gil end up talking about how they want to explore the world, which is nice. I like them being friends. Okay, so now everyone is regrouping at Evie's cottage. Doug is at the cottage, and he's been put to sleep by the sleeping curse.
He's spelled. Is she not a fast learner?
She's emotionally involved, okay?
The other kids are there too, but Evie wants to try and use True Love's kiss to wake Doug up, like undo the magic spell and wake him up. But they haven't said love to each other yet.
Makes our movie night seem a little tame.
I love movies.
So she's kind of nervous. So we get a song where she sings about how she's nervous because she doesn't know if they love each other. And then she kisses him and he wakes up. So I guess it was true love and she had nothing to worry about. Uma and Mal eat some of the birthday cake and they bond. It's a step towards friendship. Then Audrey, using her magic, tries to seal up the cottage, so like board up all the doors and windows, but Uma and Mal are able to work together to like counteract it. Because in this series, friendship is the most powerful magic.
I always knew you'd be part of the solution.
What is this?
Oh, yeah.
I gotta get used to this.
You like it?
I love this.
Carlos gives Jane her birthday present, which is a necklace that he 3D printed that has their ship name.
Right, because Jane and Carlos make Jarlos.
Yes, yeah.
They don't call it a ship name, but that's what it is. And then the group decides to split up. They're gonna send Doug, Gil, and Jane, the characters who matter less, to go try and find Fairy Godmother to see if she can help them. Fairy Godmother has been turned to stone walking up the steps of the museum. So she was gonna go and retrieve her wand, but then she was turned to stone. So then Doug, Gil, and Jane just kind of like hang out there. And meanwhile, everyone else goes to the fairy cottage to try and find Audrey. So the fairy cottage, I don't know if I've given any updates on this, but Chad and Audrey have sort of a complicated history. He's become sort of obsessed with her. In the first movie, when Ben does his little song and dance to Mal, Audrey then decides to publicly date Chad as an indication that she's not upset that Ben broke up with her.
Did I mention that?
Chad's my boyfriend now! And I'm going to the coronation with him, so I don't need your pity date.
And then in the second movie, he missed Cotillion because Audrey called him and said that her car broke down. And so he like drove 6 hours to come get her. So then in this movie, he's at the birthday party and he like offers to be her sidekick, lackey, henchman.
Fine, stand behind me.
And he keeps trying to sort of calm her down and convince her to stop doing evil magic. And she keeps ignoring him. And finally she gets frustrated with him and magically locks him in a closet. So when we show up at Fairy Cottage, Chad has been locked in a closet. So we free Chad and he runs away into the woods. Audrey is not there, but everyone gets to talking. Because Ben only reunited with them recently, so he doesn't know why the pirates are helping. And the pirates say that Mal has agreed to bring the kids over from the Isle. If I were Mal, I'd be like, babe, just go along with it. Because I know that this is a kids movie, and so you're supposed to be honest, because honesty is good. But I feel like honesty in this circumstance is a bad idea. But Mal loves making bad decisions. So she tells everyone that she was planning to seal off the Isle. And now everyone's mad at her. The pirates are mad and they leave. Celia is mad, so she takes the ember and throws it in a bird bath, which I knew the ember was gonna get wet because that's just how plots work. But I didn't think it was gonna be Celia throwing it in a bird bath. And then Evie feels very betrayed because Mal has been lying to her. And then Audrey turns them to stone. So now Evie, Jay, Carlos, Ben, and Dude are now turned to stone. So Mal's at a real low point. She sings a song called Once Upon a Time. My gripe with this song is that it should have been Happily Ever After, because this is not the beginning of the story. This is the third movie, so it's the end of the story. So she should instead be concerned about getting her Happily Ever After. I feel like that's obvious. But once Mal is done singing, she chases after the pirates. They want nothing to do with her. But Audrey has taken Celia hostage and is like, cackling and being evil. So Mal turns into a dragon and is going to try and fight her, and Uma decides to join in. So through teamwork, they reignite the ember and they defeat Audrey.
Mal! Oh, Celia! Oh! Mom!
I guess because of all the magic, Audrey gets like put in a coma. So now we gotta deal with that. We have sort of a group talk where the pirates and Celia say that if we're sealing off the Isle, then they'd rather just stay on the Isle.
The Isle is my home. Someone needs to be there to protect it.
Well then, you'll need your first mate.
Can I go too? I wish I could be in both places.
Mal apologizes for lying, and everyone pretty much immediately forgives her because she was doing what she thought was right.
And I'm really sorry that I lied to all of you guys. You deserve so much better than that.
You're just trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
I get it.
I mean, I guess, but she was wrong. Like, her idea was bad, so I feel like I'd still be upset with her. Now, in order to revive Audrey from her coma, we need to bring Hades from the Isle and have him use his ember to, like, bring her back. Hades shows up, and he points out that there's sort of a double standard, because when villains do something bad, they're sent to the Isle, and when this princess does something bad, she's brought back to life from the brink of death and forgiven for her lapse in judgment, which again, I agree. Hades makes some good points in this movie. Then Mal and Ben apologize to Audrey for all the sort of drama they've put her through. And then Audrey and her grandmother apologize to Mal for being, you know, sort of mean and prejudiced against her. So that's nice. Everyone's on good terms. And we're about to bring Hades back to the Isle, which I don't know. I don't really agree with that. But he gives Mal his ember, which is nice, but he can't use it anyway, so sort of like he may as well give it to her, you know? Then we have Mal and Ben's engagement party. We had mentioned this earlier in the movie.
And Belle's already planned an engagement party next week. It's a really good thing I said yes!
Hugs!
Even though the whole kingdom was like turned to stone or put under sleeping curses, I guess we're still good to go. And Mal gives a speech where she says that she doesn't want to be queen of Auradon. She wants to be queen of Auradon and the Isle. So her decision is to bring down the barrier forever.
The barrier will come down.
Yes!
This is a bad decision in the other direction, because there are some villains on the Isle who were very evil and posed a supernatural magical threat. I feel like maybe you need to separate out those people. It's a better plan than closing off the barrier forever. A lot of the people on the Isle probably don't deserve to be there, but some of them do. It's not the usual conversation about prison abolition, because some of these prisoners have magic and are like comically evil. And I feel like our understanding as the audience is that you can't really rehabilitate Maleficent. So Mal takes down the barrier and she creates a bridge. She uses the wand. So I guess Fairy Godmother like brought her wand. I feel like she should have used the ember as like a, you know, being from the Isle moment. And then we have a group song, because we have to end on a group song. And we sort of end on the idea that the villain kids are going to go visit their parents, which I disagree with. We have never framed them as having a good relationship.
Don't you ever miss screaming at people and just making them run away from you?
You're thinking of my mother, and I was usually on the other end of that, so not really, no.
I'm actually really nervous to meet your mom.
You're nervous? His mom is Cruella de Vil. I'm petrified.
Wait till she doesn't want to be a vet.
The kids have never shown any desire before now to visit their parents.
And were they seriously thinking that no one will ever go in or out of the Isle ever again? I mean, what, we never get to go back and see our parents?
It feels like someone at Disney went, hey, it feels weird that all of these kids don't like their parents and never want to see their parents again. That's a weird message for a Disney movie. So then for the third movie, we sort of retcon that whole idea. But I don't know. After this, there was a animated little special of Ben and Mal's wedding, and Hades comes to the wedding and accidentally sets some stuff on fire, and in the end, Ben and Mal get married in like a very casual private ceremony. You know that movie thing where it's like, well, all the people we love are right here. Let's just do it now. Which I don't know if you could do that if you're a royal and having a royal wedding. I don't know if you could just like elope. Also, the actor who played Carlos, Cameron Boyce, tragically passed away right before the third movie was released. So the wedding special has like a very brief sort of tribute mention that Carlos is no longer with us. And Mal wishes he could be at the wedding, and her friends give her like, I think like a charm bracelet? I don't know. I mean, it's a very sad situation, and I don't know how the Descendants writers should have handled it. I think it was good to keep it sort of brief and vague. I will be leaving a link in the description to the Cameron Boyce Foundation if you want to check that out. Okay, I have a couple more thoughts, so bear with me. First of all is the themes of these movies. These movies were directed by the same man who did the High School Musical movies, which I feel like makes a lot of sense. The sort of movie by movie arc is very similar. In both the first High School Musical and the first Descendants movies are like a fish out of water new school story, and it deals a lot with expectations both from parents and peers. Also, I feel like there's characters who are very similar, like Audrey is very much a Sharpay kind of character.
This is Audrey.
Princess Audrey, his girlfriend.
Fairy godmother reminds me of the drama teacher.
The doors of wisdom are never shut. But the library hours are from 8 to 11, and as you may have heard, I have a little thing about curfews.
Both of the second movies are at a new location and have a breakup of the main couple, and both of the third movies deal with sort of the transition to adulthood and plans for the future. I think it's interesting that so many Disney Channel original movies deal with this idea of what your parents want from you and what they expect for your life. The message being that you don't have to follow your parents' plan for you and that you should be yourself. It's a message that kids can resonate with, obviously, but it is interesting that parents don't complain about it more. It's not an anti-parent message, but it's not necessarily pro-parent. I mean, there probably are Facebook groups that complain about Disney movies, but I am not aware of them, and I'm not going to seek them out. So in my mind, they don't exist. I'd also like to talk a little bit about the relationships in these movies. In some of that behind-the-scenes content that I watched, they talked about how the three main couples, so Ben and Mal, Evie and Doug, and Jane and Carlos, all represent different stages of a relationship. This is in the third movie. How Ben and Mal are sort of like adults making big decisions together. Evie and Doug are in a long-term relationship. They still don't know what their future is together. And Jane and Carlos are still like agonizing over birthday presents. It's interesting because it's one of those things that I never would have thought of on my own, but it makes sense that that's what they were thinking. I like Ben and Mal. I think my favorite thing is that Ben already wanted to bring kids over from the aisle. Because I feel like a lot of times in stories with people from two different groups, sort of Romeo and Juliet stories, falling in love with someone from the other group is what facilitates the change of heart. But in The Descendants, Ben doesn't have a change of heart. He's always believed that the kids should be off the aisle. And I really appreciate that. I think they were setting up Lonnie and Jay in the second movie, but then Lonnie's not in the third movie, so then it kind of doesn't matter. I do think it's a little weird that Lonnie went from being more stereotypically girly in the first movie into sporty and fencing in the second movie. I understand why they made that decision, but I wish they had made that decision for the first movie. I feel like Uma and Harry could have been a couple. That feels like the obvious decision. Though I feel like Harry likes Uma way more than Uma likes Harry. I also would have been happy with Harry and Gil. There is a picture from a take where Harry and Gil kissed. I wish that had stayed in. But as we know, Mickey Mouse hates gay love, so I don't think we'll have a gay couple in a Disney Channel original movie until like 2040. Speaking of, I also want Audrey to read the Lesbian Master doc. Like, is she interested in Ben because she likes him or because of the security and power associated with being with him? Things to think about. What's next for the Descendants? Well, we've had another movie announced that's, I think, like in pre-production. It's called The Pocket Watch, and it follows the daughter of the Queen of Hearts and the daughter of Cinderella time traveling, and I think Uma's also there. In my perfect world, there would be a Descendants TV show in the style of like a CW teen drama. Realistically, I think Disney is just going to keep doing spin-off movies until they no longer perform well, which I think is kind of lame. But I don't know, maybe I'll end up loving The Pocket Watch, and I'll be eating my words. Is that all that I have to say? I guess so. I feel like I've said a lot of things about the Descendants. Okay, well, this was fun for me. Hopefully it was also fun for you. I don't know how to end a YouTube video. Bye.